So, Jerry, last thing I want to know is in the course of this is all taking time to organize this actual get together. And so the only thing I have to ask you is what sort of social activities might you turn your attention toward? You were talking about doing uh, some community outreach before. Do you want to get that done? Do you want to take care of that? I want to see how you're
Well, yeah,
interacting with the populace.
you always want to get the people on your side,
Hmm.
but also I need to like move my family around as well because if there are officials coming down here, they could be coming down here, to bust heads or
Right.
to arrest me or to do something. So they have to be put someplace safe. Um, which there's probably a network of people for that.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that I get.
and so yeah, I'm probably busy doing that. Busy trying to, if I do have any contacts in the upper echelons or the upper areas of Avix society, see what like the mood like is up there. Like basically, I want my fingers on the pulse of what's going on. What's the name of this planet, by the way? Is it just Avix or is it?
Oh no, that's sort of a Mercap thing to do. With Planet of Mercap, people of Mercap. I'm a Merc. That's a Hiver thing too, right? It's the Hive. What's
Right.
the name of the
Yeah.
planet? Hive. What's the name of this town?
Yeah.
Hive.
Exactly. It's the hive.
Right.
It's yeah.
But no, the Avix is. I imagine the Avix have many different names for things and
Right.
for
For
many
all their
different
different
places.
planets.
Right, and continents on the planets and towns in the continents and
Right.
on and on. I don't know. Let me think of a good one, or if anyone wants
Right.
to suggest one at some point, is fine.
You want to just call it Jewel, like the capital is the Jewel, and like they're just descriptive names of like
Oh, I kind of like that. Sure, why not? Why not? Yeah. Okay.
you know just
So,
call it Jewel.
and I also want to ask you though. You mentioned a bunch of different things. The one that I think is that I need to ask is: are you priming the people for a violent response or not?
Um, yeah, there's always that option. Always keep the gunpowder dry. But we're going to try to talk to these people. But
Right.
you know,
In
this
that
might be our
case,
time.
let's have a roll which would probably draw on that trait that you mentioned, if that's the one you want to use.
Right? The
Uh,
my infamous civil rights
mhm.
agitator.
And in
All
this
right.
case, just to do as you say, to kind of get the populace kind of well situated for whatever may come. So this would be two dice from me, and then two dice from the trait, and then whatever it is you want to do with your pool.
You know what? I had so much luck last time with this 7 dice. Oops. Uh-oh. That might not be good.
Yeah, except for the
All
one
right.
that tries to get away. Right.
Yeah, exactly. I will roll 7 dice again in the hopes. All right. Got a success.
Ah,
And I will keep that success and add it to my pool.
right. So your pool goes up to 4.
Right. Let's see.
And I will simply say that we can get a very good panoramic look at just how good Carnivix is, because there's lots of, I mean, Freetown is clearly full of different interests. Some of them quite nefarious, some of them very selfish, some of them very wonderful, right? All sorts of different people with different little power groups and stuff like that. Um,
Right.
but but the word has gone out that this, as you say, this might be our time. Those who are
Right.
inclined to respond positively to this prepare accordingly.
Right. Yep.
So
So
lots
yeah,
of
we're
different, I'm speaking generally, but you can imagine all these different avixes of all shapes and sizes, except they can't fly, doing different
right.
preparation for civil rights kinds of things according to their personal ideologies, according to their personal needs.
Right. Yep. Doing all of that. Yeah, basically storing food,
Oh, yeah.
squirreling away weapons, and having our people in prime positions to control the infrastructure.
Absolutely.
Because
No kettling
we
is going
build
to
her.
happen here. Thank you very much. Right.
Yeah, we control, like, we make all the stuff, so
Mm-hmm.
the trains will not run on time.
Right. Got it. You've got disruption. Disruptions are in place if needed. Got it.
Yep, exactly.
Excellent.
So,
okay. I think that's about it.
cool.
I want to talk with you guys later at some point. Maybe now. I haven't heard screams of rage from the PlayStation room. So,
right.
So I'll risk it a bit more. Specifically, that this game is built so that we're working off of these organic, always changing stories, right? These paragraphs, right? So that's why, Jerry, you and I talked about this before. That's why a trait has to either be a phrase right out of that paragraph or so closely linked to it that it might as well have been. So it's not like you write a concept and then make up traits kind of out of a blue in a list. They have to be in the paragraph and at least heavily implied. So if someone says, experienced soldier is the trait, you could have pistol, as a trait. That would make sense.
Right.
But the traits shouldn't be like new information in any major way.
Right.
So that means I'm asking, and the reason for this is that the experience system is built on adding phrases and sentences to it.
Right.
So that's where you would be getting new traits, is from the information, that's in those. So the idea of that is kind of a unit. It's not kind of like in a lot of role-playing games, they say, okay, write down the concept, then now we'll go over to that character sheet and spend points to write down all your traits. So those are two really separate things. This is really different. And I think I'm trying to, now that we're playing like more long-term, I'm trying to get a better feel for how that works. Because I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty intuitive, but the tendency to just make a list of traits, like just making up new stuff for the traits, even though you see the connection, but it's not really there. It breaks the logic, of adding the words as the primary sheet. Does that make any sense?
Sort of, yeah.
So
to
Renee,
me, it works out like blue booking in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for anyone who doesn't know what blue booking is, it's your little character diary as you play, and you keep all your notes and stuff in there, kind of like what I do here as we play along. I'm just writing stuff that I'm thinking and stuff. But eventually what I see with these characters is that, let's say, for instance, you play for 5 sessions. That is, what is that, 75 words, 60 words? So each one of those is from those, is that session. So for instance, my next, is it 15 words or 30 words?
15 per session. And so that would be 75 extra on top of your 50. And they don't have to be absolutely right out of the session, but they often will be.
Right. And so like mine, like in, with my thinking right now would be like, Carnivax, has, an infrastructure of agitators, which would become a trait.
Right.
So it would be, he has this infrastructure built, blah, blah, blah. And so then I could take that trait out, and that would become a trait that I then could go back and spend points in. So over the long haul.
Well, you're absolutely right about that. But let's go back to the original one and see that heel and elbow spurs isn't coming from anything out of the paragraph.
Right. That one comes from, to me, that comes from its, because, I was kind of conscious of that. And I saw it as basically him being built more like, what is it?
I get it as a concept, and I like him having heel and elbow spurs. What I'm saying is it might be good practice for the two of you to go back and kind of rejigger your original paragraphs so that the traits jump out more from what's in them. Does that make any sense, Renee?
No, totally. I was
Yeah.
trying to do that. I think the only thing I kind of screwed up is my points, realizing that I'd kind of shortchanged myself. I don't know what I was thinking. Um,
The
but
penetrating gaze
yeah.
makes sense. The battle born,
Mhm,
sure. Wealth of knowledge,
mhm.
guidance books. Yeah, I can see that your traits actually are kind of pretty much, you can maybe extract them pretty well. Um, but
I don't think
anyway,
you used all your words, Renee.
yeah, but you could.
No, I didn't. I
Yeah,
made it. My numbers in my head were like I think 30 instead of
right.
50.
You
Like I
could
was.
you could actually sort of make me happy by sort of farming some of those trait words into the paragraph, just to be absolutely specific.
Gotcha.
I mean,
Okay, sure thing.
so anyway, that's just something I wanted to kind of focus on, because I really want I want the process that you described, Jerry. I want it to be rock solid in place from the very beginning.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Which I think is, I want someone to run the pool now so I can play. I really do. I want to play a character, whatever
Right.
setting, I'm good. Another interesting thing I was thinking about, the first game, I agree that this is coming out of Blue Booking, and James, I'm certain, had some experience with that as a very long-term D&D BX player, which
Right.
kind of means that you have to build a role-playing game, into
Yep.
that set of rules. But the thing that interests me is the game Castle Falkenstein, which came out in the very early 90s from Al Tarsorian.
Right.
It's the first one, I think, that I've read where you had a little diary that you write in the first person.
Yep.
And then you get your traits out of that. And then with every session, you just keep writing in your diary.
Yep.
So
sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's based on 19th century literature, where all the novels are kind of like these diaries and epistles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have a question before we go to something else, or I don't know. Rewriting sentences, because the last one I wrote, I think somebody right now has realized that she actually can pull things around in people.
Yeah.
So that she doesn't like her new social status. She's probably getting the idea, maybe this isn't so bad. I can get something I want.
Well, that's true. So you may or may not change it. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Do I keep the old sentence and build on it, kind of, or do I erase it and take the words and make something else?
From the text in the pool, we can't tell, and the author never played it, so we don't have his intuitive feel about what to do. That would have developed if he did. So my take, which I actually suggested long, long ago for this, is that it seems sensible, when called for, that you can alter previous sentences, but use not much, though. I mean, instead of like taking out a sentence like "I am a warrior of the Black Basilisk," well, you've left the order in play. Instead of crossing it out, you would say, "I am no longer a warrior of the Black Basilisk," and the trait remains exactly the same. That's the kind of thing I would encourage as a modification. So we look at it and it becomes a living document of what your character's like now.
See, I would do it as an addendum using the 15 words of experience.
Yeah.
As, left the order, or outcast of the order. So it's like, he's an order, so he has all those skills, but now he's an outcast.
Yes, that's perfectly, I think that's the way James was thinking about it, because that's what the rules are literally read as, which makes sense. Sometimes, and I was thinking that like those 2 words "no longer," they would count as 2 words from the 15. Right. So, whatever you replaced with, or whatever you interpose, you inserted, would count for the 15. But the way you're talking about it, Jerry, would be the best default way. It's only when it starts looking clunky or doesn't work grammatically, or in terms of prose, that I would recommend going back. So that's kind of the beta, the derived or advanced form. So what you described does seem like the default to me, for sure. So cool. anyway, so those were just sort of my thoughts structurally on what we're doing. And I have to say the failure to discover the Book of Scram is
I'm
clearly
so happy.
is clearly the plot point that nobody could see coming. And
It's gonna turn into Zardoz, where at the end we realize it's
no, I hope not.
the wizard. Yeah, exactly. It's the Wizard
It's
of
gonna
Oz.
fall off the shelf sooner or later.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, anyways, that's our situation now, and I'll look forward to keep going.
Yeah. Do we get 15 words now, or
You do.
Okay, so both Renee and my character, we will be 65 words at the end of this,
Right.
and Thomas' character is like
Insane.
like
Right.
700 words,
Right.
3,000.
Hey,
crazy
lot.
ones.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
it's exactly what you described. So this was our 5th session, so she will in fact be at 135 words.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But in terms of, which is cool, in terms of the diversity of stuff and the narrative, but basically traits and their increase are a function of what you have devoted pool points to. Right? 'Cause you have to spend pool points to get the bonuses. So it's kind of interesting. There's not that much difference in effectiveness. Some,
Right.
but not that much.
Well, yeah. Well, what it does is at higher levels or prolonged play, you can get like what is it? I think +3 is the
Right.
most. So you can up with a few +3s as opposed to
Right.
a lot of little +1s. You become whatever, like you become, what is it, the Knight of Onyx or whatever. So
Right. Right.
or the Basilisk or whatever. So you become that guy at +3,
Yeah.
and then you have something else at +3. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to take out some words. I need.
I'll let you suffer over that one.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, folks, thank you very much, and I will talk to you later on.
See you
All right,
guys.
thanks, Ron.